Jonah 4:5 is a great verse to solidify some of the weak verbs that we've been looking at, especially the first-yod weak verb. So let's go ahead and see if you can pronounce the Hebrew. Here's how I would pronounce it. Vayetze Yonah min ha'ir vayeshev. Actually, this is the accent is on the first syllable. Vayeshev. Mikedem la'ir. Okay. So what do you recognize here? You recognize Yonah, Jonah. Yonah. You might recognize Yatzah, to go out. Vav patak doubling. Those are converted imperfects, or vav consecutives, you could call them. They're really preterites, simple past tenses. Min, means from. We have actually min here twice. We have min as the separate, self-standing with a makef. And then here is the mem-hiric doubling, where the nun assimilates when no vowel separates, gets sucked into the kof, and we get a doubled kof. So this is from the, is it the east of the city? Yes, from the east of the city. Let me go ahead and bring the translation up here. And this is mekedem. This is a segelet, segol, and segelets put the accent on the first syllable, mekedem. So, and he went out, that is, Jonah went out. He went out from the city. Here's a the ha is, the hey is the. It has compensatory lengthening because gutturals don't do doubling. And so he tried to shoot a dagesh in there, and bang, it made it into a kamatz. That didn't really happen. But anyway, so, and Jonah went out from the city, and he sat from the east to the city. Yashav is also a first-yod verb. So we have yatzah, a first-yod verb, and we have yashav, a first-yod verb, very common verbs. And they are weak verbs, right? Because they're first-yod. So what happens? Well, remember, in our video on first-yod weak verbs, we mentioned that sometimes the yod takes a hike. And so the vav here is really the third masculine singular performative yod. It's a call imperfect or a G imperfect, and the yod is third masculine singular. Same thing with vayeshev. The yod is the third masculine singular. So it's and he went out, and here is and he sat. They're preterites, simple past tense. So what's happened is the yod of yatzah and the yod of yashav, it's taken a hike. It's gone away. Goodbye. And this happens especially if you saw the video on first vavs, when historically it was when it was historically a first vav. The first yods in Hebrew that are historically first vavs, a lot of times that yod will go away, as it did here. Now, probably it didn't bother you at all, right? Because you saw yatzah and you thought, oh, it's yatzah. Of course, it could have been vatetze, if it had been second feminine singular and so forth. So we're lucky that it's a yod, right? We're lucky that the third masculine singular, by coincidence, also has a yod. But if there had been a different performative there wouldn't have been a yod there, and you'd have had to figure out, that there's a missing yod. So in some first yods, the yod goes away. Okay, so hopefully you were able to translate that. And Jonah went out from the city, and he sat from the east of the city. Doesn't, I don't know whether the wind blows west, so, I don't want the fire coming my direction. I'm going to sit here on the east. I want the fire, going that way. But he sits on the east of the city. Because he's still hoping, even though I knew you would forgive him, Lord, he's still hoping that the Lord will come through and blow up Nineveh. Not a very sanctified person, is he? Well, let's go ahead and go on with the rest of the verse. It's a longer verse. Can you pronounce the Hebrew for this line? Vaya'as lo sham sukkah vayeshev takteha bazel. Okay. So we have Vayeshev again, and he sat. Tak teha. What is that? Well, what do you recognize? So we've got vav patak doubling here. It's a converted imperfect. Vav consecutive. It's a preterite. And what verb is it? Because I've only got 2 letters here. I know it's third masculine singular because I've got the yod. But what's missing? Well, hopefully you guess that it's asa, a third hay verb. And with third hay verbs, the hay goes away with converted imperfects. So and he made, and the context implies it's God, and God made something. What did God do? And God made lo, he made for him. So this is the third masculine singular pronominal suffix for him, and then there's the preposition lo. And God made for him a sham. He made for him there. Well, he made for him there sham. He made for him there a sukkah, a booth. You might have heard of the Feast of Tabernacles or the Feast of Booths. In Hebrew, it's Sukkot, and this is the singular of it, sukkah. Remember, ot is a feminine plural, and kamatz hay is a feminine singular. So he made a booth. He made a little tent for him there. I think basically it's a plant. He made a plant that will, kind of serve like a tent. So God made a booth for him there. Vayeshev, and he sat, that is Jonah sat, takat. This is under. Takat means under, and ha is the feminine singular, one of the forms of the feminine singular object. So under her, because sukkah is again feminine singular. So ha is feminine singular. So under her. Tak teha, the accent's on the connecting syllable there. So under her. So, and God made for him there a booth, and Jonah sat under it in the shade. So Zael is shadow, and then what is it? Bezalel in the shadow, the guy that makes the ark, constructs the tabernacle in Exodus. Anyway, ba is in, and then the patak doubling is all that's left of the article. The hay got squeezed, and we're left with the patak and the doubling. So this is in the shadow, which is also a series on TV, but that's not important either. Okay, see if you can pronounce now this final line of the verse. Here's how I would pronounce it. Ad asher yir'eh ma yihyeh ba'ir. Okay, so he made a booth. God made a booth for him, and Jonah sat in the shade under it, until which, not a good English phrase, but it works fine in Hebrew. Until which he will see, that is, Jonah will see what will be in the city. So even though God has said, "Okay, I'll forgive you," and Jonah's like, "I knew you'd do this," he's still hoping that God might change his mind and fry them. And so he's going to wait and see. I'm going to sit here. Got a nice little vantage point. I want to see the smokes. This is all asher, a relative pronoun. So yir'eh is ra'ah, to see. And then the yod implies that it's an imperfect. So this is a call imperfect or a G imperfect, basic stem, third masculine singular from ra'ah. He will see. The yod is the third masculine singular performative of the imperfect. What? That's an interrogative pronoun. Yihyeh. So this is haya, which is to be. And again, there's the yod there. Not sure why it's doubled. Doesn't really have any meaning, but it obviously happens occasionally. So I assume it's more phonetic than anything. But so this is third masculine singular imperfect call from haya. It will be. And then ba is in, ir is city, and then that kamatz is the only thing left to tell us that there was an article here. So the ayin said, "I'm a guttural, I don't do doubling," and so the patak of the article became compensatorily lengthened to a kamatz. That's all that's left of the hay went away. Pop that thing right out of there. And we're left with a kamatz. Okay, I did put at the bottom here just to mention again that the hay goes away in the converted imperfect of third hay verbs. So this is a call or G. It's imperfect because there's the yod, third masculine singular because there's the yod, and it's from a saw, and the hay has gone away in that situation. Phew! Well, there's an awful lot in this video. You might watch it more than once, but hopefully a lot of this is just review, and it's really beginning to stick. We're on the home stretch.